Job scams are definitely becoming harder and harder to detect as time goes on, just because of technology and advancement. So, is there a way that you can actually be able to spot a job scam before you fall victim? Well, that's what we're going to get into today. Now, I've by accident become a bit of an expert in this field of being able to spot job fraud, job scams, things of this nature. And it is not by choice, it's simply because I have fallen victim to these scams. So, for those of you that don't know already, I have a video in which I talk in painful detail about my experience of being scammed by a job on Indeed. Okay, now this, whew, yeah, I definitely went through it. So if that's something that you're interested in watching, then I'll leave the link above. Now, as I've mentioned before, when it comes to job fraud, yes, it is becoming more and more advanced. They are becoming more and more clever, and they're catching more and more people. So more people are becoming victims to these kind of job scams. But there are telltale signs that if you look out for, you can be able to tell if it's a scam in order to avoid yourself falling victim. Now, usually these signs can be spotted at different stages. So for some people, they might be able to spot it right at the beginning when they're looking at the job advertisement, whereas some people might get all the way to the job offer before they realize that it's a scam. So I'm going to be talking about all the different signs and the different stages where you can spot these signs in order to avoid you falling victim. All of the signs that I'm going to mention are signs that I have fallen victim for. I'd like to think I'm a little bit wiser now. So I'm going to share with you the 6 warning signs of job fraud and how to spot these fake jobs online. So the first warning sign can be found in the job advertisement itself. So usually in a job ad, they will have the job description. And in the job description, it will be very detailed into the specifications of what they want. For example, it will detail the actual roles and responsibilities of the job itself. It will detail the requirements that they want the person to have, so the personal specification and any qualifications that that person will need. However, in many job fraud cases, when it comes to the advertisement, you'll find that the job description is very vague, not really giving a detailed description as to what they're expecting you to do, what does the role actually entail. Instead, they're focusing more on promising these big promises, such as, you're going to make a fortune at the company, you're going to make a lot of money, and maybe they might start talking about how other employees have made so much since working with them, things of that nature. Or when it comes to actually asking for qualifications or personal specification, they'll just say, oh, you will receive training on the job. So they don't actually require you to have anything. That leads me on to the second warning sign, which is the salary. So a common pattern that you will usually find with a lot of these fake jobs online is that the salary is always unrealistic. It's always a really huge amount. So in my case, when I was scammed, the salary that they put there was that you could earn up to 70k a year, and that's how they got me. So you really want to look at the salary properly. If the salary is like way out of, the parameters of your salary expectation, is probably a scam. Another thing is to read the description of the salary. A lot of the times they would use words such as uncapped earnings. When you hear words such as uncapped, run. So uncapped basically means that there's no base salary, which means it's commission based. Okay, so everything that you're going to be doing, whatever product you're going to be selling, you'll be getting a commission from it. There's no base salary in which you can live on, which is a terrible idea to even go ahead with this job. The third warning sign is in their website. For all of you out there that go to interviews without researching on the company first, this is for you. So there's a few things to look at when it comes to the website. First of all, you need to actually check if the website actually exists. With some job scams, they don't actually have a website because they're not legit. So you probably will have a hard time finding any information about the organization. So that should be a definite red flag. But a lot of job fraud cases are quite advanced and a lot of them do have websites. So there are some things to look out for when it comes to the website. The first thing is the actual web link. So firstly, if you notice that at the end of the web link, it doesn't have a .com, or let's say you're based in the UK and it doesn't have .co.uk, for example, and it has a web link such as .net, that's a very good indicator. Also, look at the beginning of the web link where it's got the HTTPS. If it doesn't have the S at the end of it, because the S stands for secure, if it doesn't have the S, that usually means that it is not a secure site, which means most likely it is a fake job. And thirdly, just look at the website itself. So what is it writing on the website? Is it very detailed in what the company does? If the company is not very detailed and is quite vague in what they do, that is also a red flag. Before I go any further, if you are currently job searching right now and are getting to the interview stage but find that you are facing constant rejection, no matter how much you prepare for the interview, then I have the thing for you. Many people are not aware that qualifications and experience is not enough to get you the job. If you do not have the confidence at the interview to showcase your abilities and your strengths, you will end up being passed over for somebody else who might even have less experience than you. So I have a free webinar on how to have interview confidence in order to wow employees and get the job that you want. I'll leave the link below. Now, the fourth warning sign is when you've progressed further along in the job scam process. So let's say you've made it all the way to the interview itself. So the warning sign to look out for at the interview itself is if they offer you the job straight away. I mean, they offer you the job at the actual interview. And when they offer you the job, it's so quick and they want you to make a decision there and then. Not only that, they want you to start right away. So they want you to start ASAP. So they want you not to have any time to think about the situation. They just want you to start the next day, for example, but they want you to start ASAP. That leads me on to the next point, which is warning sign number 5, which is no due diligence is done. So after they've given you the job offer, no due diligence is done. So what we mean by that is usually once you receive the job offer, usually they will have to take your documents for processing. For example, they would have to do background check, which usually takes about 2 weeks. Like there's a period from when they give you the job offer to when you start the job, because there's certain things that need to be done in the process. None of that is done. They just literally put you on their rota to start the job. That's literally it. Yeah, and then you just start the next day. So definitely watch out if they offer you the job on the spot and if they tell you that you need to start the next day or something of that nature and no documents, no due diligence is done, do not go any further with this job. So the fifth warning sign, which is probably the most dangerous and kind of leads on from point number 4 because it is in relation to due diligence, is when they do not give you an employment contract. If you do not have an employment contract, you are not employed. So usually in cases like this, when you realize that, oh my God, you've started the job and there's no employment contract and they're not looking to give you an employment contract. So in some cases, many people will be like, where is my employment contract? And they actually have an answer for you. They will tell you that, your job role is self-employed. Again, when you realize that you don't have an employment contract and they're saying things like self-employed, run. Not having an employment contract basically means that you are not eligible for things that you should be eligible for. So you will not be eligible for holiday, you will not be eligible for any company benefits, There is no legal protection for you if you do not have an employment contract, which is a very dangerous and slippery slope to go down. So if you realize that they're going that way about things, just kindly decline and just leave. So those are my 6 signs of spotting job fraud and be able to detect these fake jobs online. So use these whenever you're just generally just job searching in general in order to prevent yourself from falling victim. I have to add that there are more signs for spotting job fraud because, as I mentioned, they are becoming more advanced. However, these warning signs are the ones that I have fallen victim for. If you want the full guide on all of the warning signs to look out for, I will leave the link below, which was actually an article by Indeed themselves, which are teaching people how to spot these scams. So I'll leave that link if you want the full guide on all of the warning signs. And again, if you want to know about my experience of how I was job scammed, then the link is above. So that brings me to the end of this video on how to spot job fraud, especially when it comes to detecting fake jobs online. If you found this video helpful, then press like. Also, if you have your own personal experience of being job scammed, tell me about your experience below. And if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe to my channel for more videos like this and on how to pass interviews in order to get the job that you want. I'll see you in the next video.